Hello, welcome to this update for the severe weather. So, between today and yesterday afternoon, we had some big updates on the severe weather today. They just added these enhanced risk spots of Central Texas, and there's this long slight risk that goes all the way to Ohio, and this marginal risk that goes all the way from Texas to Vermont. So, let's see. So, for tornado threat, a 5% and a 2%. This 5% is much bigger now than what I showed you yesterday, so please be careful in those areas. And there's this 2% goes from Texas to Missouri. And there's the wind 15% in the whole area there. And there's hail 15 and 5% and 30% in Texas. So 30% hatched for potential baseball size hail. So please be careful. And especially there in Texas and Oklahoma. Scared severe thunderstorms are likely from parts of Texas into southern Missouri. Mainly this afternoon and evening, very large hail, damaging wind, and a few tornadoes all appear possible. And isolated to scared damaging winds may also occur across portions the Ohio Valley into the northeast. So please be careful. Those are especially the hail and the tornadoes and the wind too. So stay safe. There's the HER here shows like this evening the significant tornado parameters shows very scattered, nothing's too concentrated, but does show in Texas like some spots, some higher parameters. Be careful if you are in northern Mexico as well, and show spots of Oklahoma, even Arkansas, and a little bit earlier in the afternoon does show in central Texas, the main area for concern. So be careful. There's later in the evening that the herd just ramps up out of nowhere. So these are about 3Z in the evening. It shows very high parameters across Texas and northern Mexico, but especially later into northern Texas as well. So this goes later into the night, starts diminishing, but still very high, even close to 5 in some areas, 5.5. So please be careful those areas, especially into the evening there in Texas. Expect a higher tornado threat. Tomorrow morning, more quiet, so better. But later into tomorrow afternoon, we will be ramping up again. So I'll show you that later for tomorrow's outlook. But the full run here does show uh, the possible storms. The HER is very aggressive in spots of Texas, shows those big tracks there of storms. This indicates very large hail and tornado potential, plus the severe wind, like the probability of rotating updrafts and the track of those storms. So please be careful. Have plenty of ways to receive warnings in those areas, southern Oklahoma as well, into Arkansas, and it even takes some into southern Illinois, Indiana, and Kentucky. So be careful. Some very light tracks in the northeast, maybe a few instances of damaging winds, but nothing that crazy there. But please be careful in those parts of Texas and other areas. So here for tomorrow on April 20th for Easter. Uh, First things first, happy Easter. Second thing second, there's this big enhanced risk for spots of Missouri and Arkansas into Illinois. So yesterday they added a small enhanced risk northern Missouri, but now it's much bigger. So please be careful. There's the slight risk from spots of Texas to Illinois, and the marginal one goes all the way to Iowa. So please be careful. The tornado threat is actually higher tomorrow. There's a 10% in spots in Missouri and Arkansas. So tomorrow might be a more dangerous day in terms of tornadoes. So please be careful in those areas and have like as plenty of ways as possible to receive warnings for tornadoes, storms, and everything. So please be careful. There are Missouri, spots of Arkansas, and in the whole area in general, the 2% and the 5% as well, especially in the 5 and 10%. So be careful. There's wind 30% and 30% is significant as well. So be careful the damaging winds. There's fire 15% in the whole area. Hail is just fire 15%. So be careful too. But tomorrow the concern might shift towards wind and tornadoes. So severe storms are expected on Sunday from East Texas to lower Missouri and Mississippi valleys. The greatest damaging wind and tornado potential will be over parts of northern Arkansas into Missouri, far west central Illinois. So stay safe in those areas, be careful. And there's for Monday just some general storms, nothing that crazy. And day for freight is still kind of quiet, so be aware. And there's still the critical fire threat spots of New Mexico and Texas. Not much New Mexico, yeah, kind of New Mexico, but mainly in Texas and the elevated in Florida too. And it's quite dry and sunny there now with some drought conditions, so be careful. And there's still an elevated tomorrow in Central Florida, so be aware. There's here some heavy rain already happening, mesoscale discussions, and there's the moderate risk of excessive rainfall from Texas to Missouri. So please stay safe in those areas. There's the slight risk and the marginal too, but be careful with flash flooding, some urban flooding too, and everything in those spots of Texas, Oklahoma, into Arkansas and Missouri, and all the other areas too. So stay safe. There's for Sunday a marginal risk across some spots of the plains and Midwest and the South. Day three nothing. Day four in Texas again and Oklahoma. Day five still a marginal risk in Texas and Oklahoma. So be careful those areas. There's here the general look for like some heavy snow in the Rockies still, spots of mixed precipitation. Day two, some storms, mixed precipitation, and day three, still in the northwest, some mixed precipitation. So here, so this was written yesterday. So Saturday, April 19th, is forecast to have numerous instances of flash flooding from northern Texas to far north and east southwest Missouri. That said, Saturday is just one day of several over the next week that will feature wet weather. So yeah, stay safe. And here they say flash flooding safety, multiple ways to receive warnings about flash flood warnings. Never drive or walk through flooded roads, and get to a higher ground immediately. Turn around, don't drown. So stay safe in those areas. There's the rain here. And just today until Sunday already shows close to 5 inches, some spots of Texas, Oklahoma, mainly like 3 to 4 inches, but there could be a spot or two close to 5. Next 7 days shows many spots there, even upwards of 7 inches, so widespread 5 inches or more. So please stay safe in those areas. Already the flood watch is there, some flood advisories, and severe thunderstorm warnings. And there's like red flag warnings and winter storm warnings, like even some freeze warnings and winter wet advisories. So be aware those areas. And here the storms and everything. There's like for the storms themselves here. So if I find it, so there's the lightning flash density as well for this evening. For example, the HER shows these storms around Texas, some in Oklahoma, into Arkansas as well. And later about 2Z, it still continues the storms in Texas, a lot of lightning in those storms too. And even later in the evening, it fires more storms in Texas there. And by that time, it's the time that the HER has those crazy tornado parameters there. So stay safe, be careful in those areas. Here to see the storms a little bit more clearly. There's the HER here as well, and shows like this goes better see like the south here. So shows already some storms still there. This goes Later this evening starts showing some spots of Texas, this afternoon actually, and then later by this evening shows more firing central western Texas, those spots there. So stay safe in those areas, especially these ones, central to western Texas in the evening. Oklahoma and Arkansas with some dangerous ones as well. So be careful. This goes, and still tomorrow the threat ramps up further north, but those storms today might be very strong. Be careful. Those supercells and the initial ones that are western Texas might be very strong. So please stay safe. There's like the Cape here too. It shows more confined to southern Texas, but some areas around western Texas, south of Midland, might have a little bit 1,000 to 2,000 joules per kilogram. In Oklahoma and northern Texas, more Cape in a few spots as well. So stay safe in those areas. Be careful. There's the snow in the Rockies too, northwestern Canada in Nunavut, that's semi-blizzard, and spots in Alaska, and Ontario and Quebec as well, some snow. So this goes, as you can see, the severe storms today, Sunday, and this is Sunday evening. This keeps going and still shows a kind of a small burst of heavy rain Wednesday in Texas, some storms in Oklahoma still, and more throughout next week possible, even to Mexico. So be careful those area. So those areas. So let's see if I find more interesting things here for the next few weeks. So alright, like on week 2 in early May and the last week of April shows some big signs for more severe weather, spots of the plains, the supercell composite. So it's already showing a lot in week 2, and week 3 still shows more, especially in Texas. And yeah, here's week 1 that's happening now, kind of week 2. Week 1 is kind of here, but yeah, stay safe. And still shows a lot, like I told you, for week 2 and week 3. So to keep watching that, because by that time we'll still have this influx of Gulf moisture and some potential troughs, more wind shear for those storms starting in early May as well, and like late April. So be careful in those areas. There's the snow here, still shows 5 days in the Rockies, in those areas, shows even like still in New Mexico, even to 8 inches, the European. There's in Montana still some spots of Wyoming, some 10 inches, 7 inches, and spots in Idaho, and some in Montana, and especially southern Montana. Northern Utah still shows some spots to northern Nevada, California, and Washington still. And that shows potential snow in Wisconsin, Michigan. There's the GFS even more in Michigan, and the icon kind of in between. So be careful those areas. There's like in Canada still shows this area, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, more snow, some spots there, and still like in Alberta, British Columbia, right in between, some 32 centimeters, 21 centimeters. So be aware, somewhere in British Columbia too, especially in Alaska, and shows more Nunavut, a big portion Nunavut, more snow, and spots of southern Yukon, northwestern territories, a few spots as well, especially there in Newfoundland, shows even to 43 centimeters. The GFS is like to 40. There's the icon too, especially northern Newfoundland, and widespread through central Quebec and Ontario. The European too, central Ontario, more into Quebec and Labrador, more snow, so be careful. Those areas even shows a tiny bit in northern Maine, but not that much. So yeah, be aware. Long range does increase some in the Rockies and central northern Canada and the Pacific, but that's too far. But be aware. There's here like the temperature still warm to hot in kind of southern US into Mexico, and colder for the northern Canada, but during the night in the mountains, the rock is still in the teens, single digits Fahrenheit, and still like some active temperatures in northern Canada, and some spots central into eastern Canada too, and Alaska very cold. So this goes still warmer in the southeast because that high pressure there, and maybe later the southwestern U.S. next week in the 80s or low 90s Fahrenheit. So this goes still shows like northern Nunavut, northwestern territories, very cold, some spots there. And then still shows much milder southern Canada during the day in the northwestern US, but still shows like kind of colder during the night, even the northeastern US, some spots there. And be aware those areas, but especially be careful now of this severe weather plus this heavy rain. We'll probably have another video tomorrow depending on what happens with the severe weather, and if something crazy changes today, we might make one if it's like very important. But please be careful in those areas and stay safe. Still shows some widespread showers in the Caribbean next 5 days. Spots of the Eastern Caribbean, even Dominican Republics, some more showers, and Eastern Cuba, Central American Belize still shows more, a storm or two, and some shower storms in Costa Rica, Nicaragua, especially in Panama. It's very heavy near Colombia and Panama, so be careful. More shower spots in Central America and Eastern Mexico, a few thunderstorms and more showers, but Northern Mexico might be some stronger storms, even a severe storm or two from those ones in Texas. So be careful. 5 days in Texas, southern Texas shows even close to 3 to 4 inches in some spots because of that surge of moisture next week. The GFS just like 1 inch or something, less than 1 inch even, but the European shows a lot there. But we'll keep watching. Shows some on the east coast as well. There's this kind of weird moisture area wobbling in the Atlantic, but it's not really doing anything. But just beware later next week, maybe more shower activity and everything. And yeah, so stay safe. These severe storms, be careful, and we'll make more updates if needed. But just one more thing, because we always forget these things. There's still be careful some high wind gusts in spots of the southwestern US, northern Mexico. The Caribbean is quite breezy, especially near the Bahamas, and more spots of northern Canada of that blizzard. So be careful. Even the northeastern US today, this goes that low pressure area in the plains. We have some stronger gusts, even to 40, close to 50 mile per gust. Then Sunday, Monday, this goes in Newfoundland, there in Labrador, especially Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, still shows some very high wind gusts there, and the icons as well. So stay safe in those areas in Nova Scotia too. Monday, Tuesday, this goes, and yeah, maybe some more Pacific things later. And be careful in those areas. Beware of small craft warnings and stuff like that in the Caribbean. Stay safe.